New Age feminism is easily one of the most destructive ideas that we have allowed to permeate in this modern culture. And unfortunately, it doesn't just hurt the people around it, but more so the ones who adopt it. The ones that it purports or promises to be helping are the very individuals who are harmed the most by the New Age feminism. And we can see this in pop culture. We could see it in everyday life. You can, turn on your TV if people even do that anymore, or you can go onto TikTok and you will see this pervasive mentality of, essentially it's ironic because New Age feminism has very little to actually do with femininity, right? As a matter of fact, it pushes women or encourages, and I use that word very loosely, it encourages women to be more like men and then better than men, right? So first it says anything you can do, I can do better. I can do anything better than you, to the masculine. And so it is actually an abandoning of the femininity. It is a disacknowledgement of that aspect. If you're a woman and you're raised with this New Age feminist mindset or this third wave feminist mindset, your belief is that in order for you to be adequate, to be enough, to matter and to have a sense of self, you must be more like a man than a man is. That's the way in which you climb this quote unquote social hierarchy. And it's deeply unfortunate because it not only leads to some of the detrimental things that I'm about to get into in this video, but just on the surface, you're abandoning and neglecting the very thing, that makes you so special, especially in the eyes of a man. The thing that captivates us as men within a woman is her femininity. As a man, maybe if you're, one of these more new age, modern, liberal, woke dudes or something like that, you're polarized by femininity. But as far as for just normal, regular dudes, it is the feminine polarity that actually captivates and attracts. And that's what we have an admiration for. It brings this beautiful sort of dynamic, the masculine and the feminine combined. When we're working in unison, it is a beautiful thing. And we can see that, in a healthy family structure. And yet that's the very thing that this idea and this concept of New Age feminism is trying to strip away. And I believe that life is nothing more than the ideas that we hold, otherwise known as beliefs. Your beliefs color the lenses in which you see life through. And so if I'm looking at life through the lenses of feminism, I am seeing a man as my enemy or one who I must compete with, including the one I end up in relationship with. And that's how we end up having this sort of, tug and pull situation within relationships where the woman wants to be the man or wants to outdo the man. The man is trying to outdo the woman. They are in conflict. There is discord there. And it's deeply unfortunate. And the messaging that is pushed behind this is to say, you don't even need that man to begin with. You don't need any of that. You are the family. You are the table. You are the kitchen cabinet. You are the ceiling, the curtains. You are the ceiling fan. You are everything but the floor because you will not get stepped on. And so it creates a synthetic sense of self, a synthetic confidence. I'm even guilty of building some of this up, I think, in people when I used to speak so much on self-love, not giving maybe a full aerial view of this thing, to say true self-love is not about you viewing yourself as too good for or better than every damn body, right? It's not you creating this synthetic sense of I would say confidence, which is masquerade for arrogance, which is actually pride. And pride is nothing more than fear. Okay? At the core of it, it is fear. It is a protective mechanism. When you look at anybody who is arrogant, they're trying to show this bravado, this sense of self, whether it's a man or a woman. They're trying to show this sense of self in order to protect themselves from what they believe is a weakness, an inherent flaw. And so they will create this camouflage. They will peacock. They will do whatever is necessary in order to create a mirage of what they want you to believe that they are. Right? But I digress. So we have femininity push or feminism, Freudian slip. We got feminism pushing this idea that a woman's place is to compete with a man. And so in the earliest stages of life, we're not having this dynamic of like, this is your ally. right? This is your partner. You are growing up to understand that relationship dynamics are for the unity of these two. Instead, you are seeing competition or somebody you can extract from. You have these rappers, mostly rappers who are saying these messages, but you'll probably find it in a multitude of genres at this point. You see it in television shows, etc., where a man is seen as a walking lick. I don't mean that type of lick. I mean, as somebody you can just extract resources from on one side, or on the other side is somebody who, you kind of use for sexual gratification and toss because that's what they did to us. So we're going to outdo them in that very same thing, which gets into this conversation about promiscuity and body counts, etc., which we want to pretend don't matter, but they do. Biology doesn't lie. Spirituality doesn't lie. Those soul ties are going to form whether or not you want them to. And so it promises, it promises liberation. It promises freedom. It promises that you as a woman get to be expressed when in reality you get to be depressed. The only thing it does is suppress your own true nature, right? From its very inception, from the very beginning, it is suppressing your femininity to say, become more like a man. So you step into this quasi faux masculinity and you put on the characteristics of the masculine that you even oftentimes call toxic, which is very, very ironic, right? So you're trying to become even more of the thing that you are seeing as the problem because you're told that the patriarchy is a problem. It's kind of like as black folk, we're told that systemic racism is a problem. So what's the solution? Be more racist. Huh? The calculus is not calculating on that one. If you're trying to find a solution to a problem, the solution is not going to be in the problem. You can't find at the same level of consciousness as Brother Einstein says. Doing the same thing and expecting a different result is madness. It's insanity. It's the definition of insanity. And so when you are taught these kind of belief systems, you are really being conditioned into a level of insanity where you think, okay, I want this. Like I can have the job, I can have the baby, I can have the man and this, but then you're also going to be an enemy to the man. Right? You don't want to be around them. They're an adversary to you. You want to outdo everybody at work. You want, it's kind of like how most modern dating is almost pushed where it's, looking for all these superficial characteristics. So you want a man who is a lawyer, but he's also a thug at the same time, right? It's like, oh, I want all these and I also want all of these. I want the bad boy, but I want a dude who's going to treat me right. I want a dude who might lay hands on me, but a man who never would. It's so much conflict and confusion. And again, this is the power of belief systems. When you are continuously repeating these sorts of messages over and over again, even if it's cognitive dissonance, it goes against your very own core. Because if we're to be real about it, most women, healthy women, like mentally healthy women, cannot be promiscuous and it feel like nothing. There's no emotions connected to it. It's only once you're past that mental health or mental illness threshold, right? There's a spectrum. Some are far more mentally ill than others. But it's once you step into that realm of mental illness that you can start to actually disassociate, because it is disassociation. We all heard this story about, whatever this chick's name is, Hannah, whatever, slept with 100 dudes in 24 hours. What is that? That's mental illness. Can be clinically defined in probably 1,000 different ways of what she can be diagnosed with. But once you are that disassociated and something that is so deeply intimate and interpersonal, and for a woman, is so connected to the emotional core of who you are, the fact that you can just give that away and view it as nothing, that's an indicator to say that the system is off. The system, the cords that you have connected are not firing and wiring in a correct format. I promise you that. But yet this new age feminism, this hybrid, it's like, it's the vid, not 19, but vid 26. Like it is a mutation upon a mutation upon a mutation of its former self. What once was maybe women's suffrage. We want to vote. We want this right. We want that right. Okay, beautiful. Let's get it up to part. We want to own land. Okay, beautiful. Let's do that. And then, okay, we want to be in the workplace in the same way. Okay, and all of a sudden we want everything, but way more. And that right there And again, I'm not even saying that you should not desire the absolute best for your life and the most, but that's not what this feminism is selling. It is selling you a formula for misery because it is discounting what you actually are. If you were to go into environments that allow themselves to just naturally, like women and men get to gravitate towards it, what they would gravitate towards naturally, you will see that significantly more women will go into spaces that are connected to the essence and the core of what it is to be a woman, which is whether it's communication, nurturing type of spaces like, healthcare and things of that nature that are more gravitating towards the nurturing aspect of a woman. Whereas a man might be more involved in building things. And, it's been this way for, I would say, the beginning of time, or the beginning of at least our species. We have been doing this since then. And it wasn't an accident that we had this sort of symbiotic relationship. And yet we're now being told that this thing is not only wrong, but it's a weight upon you. Like it's a curse upon you as a woman, that the system of, patriarchy is the reason in which you're suffering. And so you follow the ways of the feminists and you end up in genuine misery. You end up in the latter years of your life. Thankfully for some, it's not even getting to go that far. Some of y'all in late 20s, late 30s, and y'all seeing just how futile this way of living is. Sick and tired of being sick and tired. Now we're having pointless conversations like, well, if he don't pay 50, I won't pay no 50%. I don't pay no 50. No, but married folks who are happy in their marriages, or people who are like in real relationships, aren't having those arguments. They are working together. They're not having I ain't gonna pay no 50%, but no, they're working together. That's a healthy relationship. The people having the most conversations about what they're not gonna do are usually the ones who just don't have a relationship to begin with, or don't have a healthy relationship, don't even know what it is to be in one. And I do feel a level of, I can't even call it empathy necessarily, because empathy means I had to have gone through the very same experience, but I can't say I got compassion towards that. To say, I get it. You didn't have the examples. You didn't see that modeled for you. And so you just followed, as my bae would say, the blueprint. That was your blueprint. And so you took that upon yourself as, how life is. You're now wearing those colored glasses, and that's how you see the world. But if you're going to create any level of freedom for yourself, you have to take them lenses off. You have to free yourself from that mental dynamic, because it is ruining people. I promise. Everything it promises a woman, it is giving her the exact opposite. Promising freedom, it creates entrapment. It promises you satisfaction, it gives you dissatisfaction. And that could be in a multitude of forms, including those bedroom activities, because it's such a shallow interaction that you're going after, right? It promises that it's going to liberate you, but it actually imprisons you. We got to drop these psychological weapons that have been used against us, and now we use against ourselves. I speak on this in different measure, and I believe all the ideas are stemmed in this Marxist woke ideology, if we're to get to the core of it, which is that people are oppressors and oppressed, and that's it. And these are the people oppressing you, you are the oppressed, and you need to conquer your oppressor. That sort of ideology and mentality is the stain of humanity. It's going to be the very thing that destroys a society when the people aren't taking personal accountability to change their lives and to do something different, to get a different outcome, and you become a victim of circumstance. You are royally cooked. Simple as that. So again, I say the solution is simple. It's an ability to be able to look in the mirror and to say, why do I hold these beliefs, and to challenge those beliefs, and to, God willing, be able to shift those belief systems, to choose to move differently. It's the most difficult thing you might ever do, but it is only in your hands. Nobody else can make the decision for you. Nobody. I wish I could. I would make it for everybody. But I've tried and I've tried and I've tried, and I've realized that there's only one way, and that's through self.
I used to be afraid of the dark, a place unknown like a heart in their heart. I used to see my life in the bar. Now the kids unchained, every shackle is lost. 2 steps in the moonlight, 2 step in the daytime. You just know when it feel right. You got a feeling the time's not. see you through those shades that I just threw on. Through my lenses, you just can't do no wrong. I fell in love with myself again. I fell in love with myself. I fell in love with the sunshine. I fell in love with the light. I fell in love with the full moon. I fell in love with the night. I can see the light again. I can see the light